400 million years in the making, sharks have emerged as perfect hunters. But a new, relentless predator has placed entire populations at risk. How critical are sharks to the balance of life in the sea? Join the Cousteau team for some remarkable shark encounters. It's Jean-Michel Cousteau, Ocean Adventures.
The ocean dominates the surface of the Earth, covering over 3 times more of our world than land. This is the birthplace of life, fantastic masses of life. Here we've met unimagined species, and there are millions more yet to discover. It's a carnival of life, locked in an intricate balance that has evolved over billions of years. A balance that requires both prey and predator. And the king of predators is the shark. Sharks are perfect killers, powerful, efficient, and have evoked the awe and fear of humans for thousands of years. But now, brutal modern fishing practices and new markets have decimated entire populations of sharks, a loss that has not drawn much sympathy from the public. But is killing 100 million sharks a year getting rid of a menace? Or is the balance of our oceans at stake? To explore these questions, Jean-Michel Cousteau and his team will embark on 2 intense expeditions. They will meet the greatest of sharks face to face in open water. But first, they will encounter sharks in the greatest of numbers. 1,500 miles south of the Hawaiian Islands lies French Polynesia, thousands of tiny specks of land. Among them, located in the Tuamotu archipelago, lies an ancient sunken volcano, famous for large numbers of sharks. This is Rangiroa. It's the second largest coral atoll in the world, a paradise for sea life and divers alike. 2 main passes directly connect the lagoon to the ocean. Powerful currents surge in from the ocean to the lagoon at high tide, then reverse at low tide. These currents bring nutrient-rich waters from the deep, providing a banquet and a playground for sea life. A perfect hunting ground for sharks and a perfect location for Jean-Michel to study them. The Cousteau team makes their base camp in one of the 2 small villages on the atoll. Their host is Yves Lefebvre, the first to open a dive shop in the Tuamotu archipelago of French Polynesia and an expert on Rangiroa.
Can you show us on the chart the past you're talking about and where we'll be in relationship to the past?
Yes, yes. Okay, in Rangiroa you have two main paths, Tiputa and Avatoru. The largest concentration of grey reef sharks stay at the entrance of Tiputa Pass. To do this dive, it's necessary to get the current coming from the ocean side to the lagoon.
This morning, with the tide coming in, how many sharks do you anticipate we'll see?
We have a good chance to see hundreds of sharks.
Wow.
Good chance.
Even for this experienced team, it's the first time they'll swim with sharks in such great numbers, and the first time they'll be in search of sharks as deep as 200 feet. For Holly, this will be her deepest dive to date.
Yeah?
Yeah.
The current will be 2 or 3 knots, maybe 4 knots of current. We have to stay in the same group. If we don't stay very close, we can disperse.
So we'll be down a couple hundred feet. The maximum bottom time we'll spend is 5 minutes, and we'll start working our way back in through the pass, do all of our decompression inside. Right?
Each member of the team plays a vital role. Those in front of the camera, behind the camera, and those who will keep watch to ensure there are no unwanted encounters.
Dolphin.
Of the nearly 400 species of sharks, few are known to attack people. But silvertips, like the first shark to approach the divers, are among the more aggressive. So the team takes precautions as they adjust to being in such close proximity. A little deeper, a school of female gray reef sharks patrols the reef. For people without experience in underwater exploration, it may seem that sharks are common throughout the ocean. In reality, it's possible to dive hundreds of times and never see a single shark. The balance between the shark and its prey is ancient and complicated. Each actually depends on the other. The shark catches the weak and the sick, which improves the genetic fitness of the entire fish population. In turn, the shark is assured constant, abundant prey. Each species in a coral reef plays its unique role, so it's critical that no one species become too depleted or overpopulated. Sharks are among the primary enforcers of the balance. Jean-Michel motions the team deeper, and they begin their descent to 200 feet. On the way down, they encounter a school of spotted eagle rays. They're actually close relatives to sharks, but with a flattened body form and fins that have evolved like wings. As the team reaches the bottom, they find what they have come to see: lots of sharks. Dense populations of sharks such as this can take generations as sharks reproduce slowly. Some female sharks don't mature for 25 years, have only a handful of young. And a shark's pregnancy can last 24 months, longer than any other animal. They gather here every year for mating, an event the team hopes to witness. But their bottom time at 200 feet is short, and they drift with the currents back to the surface.
Come on, Jimmy!
Bonjour, Jimmy! That was the most aggressive one, I think.
Yeah.
I was curious, was the one that had the kind of battle wounds in its dorsal fin.
Dorsal fin, that's what I was going to say.
That one was swimming so quickly towards us and right in between us.
The true shark, huh? Well, it's the most sharks I've ever seen. It's great everybody was around, you know, it made me feel a lot safer.
Yeah, that was definitely nice having everybody there.
It was great. I mean, we stuck together. I think it really worked well.
It was beautiful.
And the that big, clean, beautiful one came right between us and the camera.
Yep.
Yeah, that shark really stood out. You know, the one that was really clean.
Yeah. Eve, is those pretty much the same ones you see? Is that their territory in there, the one with the hook?
Yes, these sharks find a long line.
Oh, yeah.
Long line too close the reef,
Yeah.
too close the atoll.
The impact of longline fishing on Rangiroa has been severe, both in the ocean and on land. Surrounded by the largest ocean on Earth, this atoll, which rises only 10 feet above sea level, is home to 3,000 residents. Everything here depends on the sea, from the school bus, which is a boat, to the economy. Rangiroa and the Tuamotu Islands supply over half the fish marketed in all of French Polynesia, so their future is determined by fishing. For Guy Boisson, president of the local Fishermen's Association, the key is conservation and protecting the balance.
Parce qu'au début, il n'y avait pas de taille, vraiment c'est tout. Bon, maintenant, nous, on a limité à 25-30 cm les femelles.
Et vous exportez des langoustes?
Quand la saison, quand c'est ouvert. Quand c'est ouvert. Et sinon,
donc c'est comme le poisson?
Le poisson, on exporte toute l'année.
Toute l'année.
Voilà. Mais les langoustes, on ne peut pas. On risque de se faire tirer les oreilles. Et c'est un risque de prison. Hein. Alors nous, on marche avec la loi quand même. Hein. Il est en voie de disparition, le poisson sur les patates. Hein. Bon, là, je pense lui aussi, il a pris une baffe. Hein. Il y a quelques années, je revenais avec 20, 25, 30 pièces par jour. Maintenant, je fais à peine 10 mémés par jour. Hein. Et le thon, on n'en parle plus. On n'en voit plus. On n'en voit plus du tout. Ça provient des longs-ligneurs. Hein. Les bateaux poussent comme des, je ne peux pas dire des champignons, mais des algues dans la mer, c'est sûr. Mais je pense que le territoire doit faire une réglementation à ce point-là. C'est-à-dire donner des tonneaux à chaque bateau et puis une certaine taille. On n'arrive plus à fournir, nous, localement, en thon. Bon, le mémé.
Vous importez du thon
voilà.
À Rangiroa?
Voilà. J'ai un ami ici qui importe du thon.
C'est incroyable.
On est obligé. Artisanalement, le thon, il n'y a plus de thon en bas, alors je ne vois pas pourquoi le thon va monter en haut pour se nourrir. Il n'y a plus. Là, hier, je ne te dis pas, j'ai vu des millions de calmars. C'est la première fois que je vois ça, des millions de calmars qui sortaient de partout. Il n'y a plus de poissons pour manger ces calmars-là. Alors ces calmars-là se reproduisent. D'ici 10 ans, on aura des calmars comme ça. On va pêcher le calmar si ça continue. Mais il paraît que c'est vraiment vachement cher.
For the people of Rangiroa, it's the end of an era. While many of the ancient Polynesian ways and traditions live on, they cannot replace what the outside world has taken from these waters. The absence of large fish, such as jacks and tuna, due to overfishing, has already upset the balance in the sea, and the effects are becoming increasingly noticed on land. As the local people are forced to turn to other sea life, such as squid, to have any kind of economic future, could sharks also become a target? As the sun sets, the Cousteau team returns to the ocean to explore the reefs at night. Coral reefs are underwater cities, and not without a busy nightlife. Those active during the day must sleep, while others emerge. Crowds of surgeonfish gather to mate, releasing their eggs and sperm to fertilize in the currents, but only at the time of the full moon. It's an explosion of life, hidden beneath the waves but linked to the movement of the stars. Fish adorned with stripes are meant not to stick out but to confuse a possible predator. Like the bird, parrotfish have a colorful appearance and teeth that have fused together into a beak. Moray eels seem ready for attack with their menacing open mouths, but they're simply breathing. In order for many sharks to breathe, water must continually flow across their gills, so they must constantly be in motion or resting in a current. The nurse shark, however, is one of the exceptions. It can actively pump water across its gills, allowing it to breathe even while resting in still water. A traffic jam of life comes alive at night as plankton swirl. They are the minuscule plants and animals that form an important part of the reef's food chain. Jean-Michel and the team visit a small-scale family fishery that is basically unchanged over the last 300 years. The system is brilliantly simple. Fish enter in one direction with the tidal flow, but then can't escape the same way. Traditionally, these traps were made of coral and straw and had to be repaired constantly.
Ça va? On peut venir vous voir?
Ouais. Tu vas rentrer dedans?
On peut?
Possible.
Small-scale fishing like this makes up 80% of the total commercial catch. Once regulated only by local custom, these fish traps have now multiplied to satisfy the growing demand in Tahiti. Inside the trap, Jean-Michel finds a representation of the abundant fish species found in the waters of Rangiroa's rich coral reefs. Once trapped, the fish are kept fresh and alive in the sea until the fisherman herds them into his basket like a shepherd. In the past, the catch used to feed only local people. Times have changed drastically. All of these small, mostly family-owned fisheries are collectively known as the South Pacific Coastal Fishery and represent a $262 million industry. And the demand on them for fish throughout Polynesia is only growing greater.
All these fish are catching a 1 o'clock flight that's on its way to Papeete, and it will be there in restaurants tonight. So there is a market. In the old days, it was one shipping on ice on a cargo vessel every 2 weeks. Then it was one airplane every week, once a week. Now it's one airplane every day.
Sharks, small enough to fit through the trap's entrance, are often caught as well. But for hundreds of years, sharks in particular have always been thrown back.
Hey, il y a des poissons!
Holly and Blair work quickly. Once out of its element, the shark is brutalized by the hot sun and increased gravity above the surface. It swims away unharmed and resumes its place on the reef.
Do they catch accidentally other sharks too, or nurse sharks the most common species?
No, other sharks.
Other
a lot
sharks.
of black tips.
Because the black tips are usually born within the lagoon,
Right.
so.
And they get caught, you know, at incoming or outgoing tides in the trap, and they let them go too.
Tu t'en vas là?
In Rangiroa, a shark is worth more alive than dead to a growing number of tourists.
I work in French Polynesia, and I've come here to Rangiroa because it's one of the best spots of diving, and we can see shark.
Hammerhead?
Yes. Here in Rangiroa we have thousands and thousands of sharks, and we can dive with them, close to them, and it's wonderful.
Are you afraid of sharks?
No, you shouldn't be afraid of sharks. Even little fishes can beat you more than sharks. I've never seen shark attacks in Polynesia.
Sharks are not senseless killers, and they have no preference for human flesh. In fact, shark attacks are in reality shark mistakes. Guided by a sense of smell that can detect blood as little as 1 part per million from a mile away, they actually taste before they devour, to be sure of their prey. Unfortunately, a trial nibble from a shark can be deadly. Once certain of its prey, a shark shows no hesitation as it feasts. Any crumbs left behind are never wasted. The days on expedition are exhausting. Even downtime is spent repairing gear and preparing for the next dive.
Nice, that's going to be much more comfortable. My chin's a little sore.
Yeah.
The harsh effect of salt water on cameras means a routine of cleaning and reloading following every dive. Tedious, yes, but a pro like Tom Ordway knows that missing a once-in-a-lifetime shot due to a malfunction is unacceptable.
Let's keep your depth alarm at 250.
We imperial or metric?
We're in PS imperial.
Okay.
Don Santee and Blair Mott are literally responsible for every breath the divers take underwater.
Always stop before the 1 because now select.
They constantly update the team's gear with new technologies for improved safety features and maximum performance.
This will give us our decompression profile, tell us what our stops are going to be, and then how long we need to stay at those stops before we come back to the surface.
Any break in the stress is welcome. So an opportunity for humor among the team rarely goes wasted.
God, you're so fat. What happened to you? It's all that lamb that you had at lunch. Huh?
It's good, though.
Okay, is this the eagle pose?
Okay, you in?
Or the tree pose? Or meditation before we dive? Ooh, I gotta balance though, and pick a spot and balance.
This dive has been timed to witness sharks not only in their greatest numbers, but also when they're the most aggressive.
We are at low tide.
Outgoing tide.
Yeah.
Outgoing tide still.
They find crowds of grey reef sharks, a competitive and territorial shark, and one of the most abundant here in Rangiroa. This is their mating season, when they school together by the hundreds to fulfill an irrepressible instinct. They seem unaware, or at least totally uninterested in the divers. However, it's no gentle affair. The males identify and follow the females by their odor, and it puts the males on edge. There's no mutual desire here. The males bite the females to subdue and overpower them in order to mate. To endure it, the females have evolved thicker skin. Jean-Michel spots something gone wrong. An aggressive male has crossed the line from mating into full-on attack. The female's wounds flood the water with scent, confusing the male's desire to mate with a frenzy to feed. He seems frantic for a response and relentlessly